are we doing today? She's walked away. Do you guys see it? Did I talk about these videos I put up? Okay, you go in there and when I was only able to have time to put up the beginning of them. But the rest of them should be out over here off to the side. So you've got our stuff, but if you scroll down, we're doing these things right now. So there's actual lectures in here that I made up during the COVID year. So you can find that useful from here on out, probably. All right, oh, I have one of these open or not. Let's open this up. What are we doing today? 3.5, writing. Oh, this is a tough one today. 3.5, writing the equation of a line. So we're going to be spending all day on just this one topic. So it's a big one. You guys have any questions before I get into it? Homework questions you would like me to do?
Been here since 4 o'clock.
Oh, have you? We got spring break next week. All right, then 4.5, let's go ahead and get into that.
No classes for every.
Right, this
Oh, okay.
spring break, yeah.
Oh, so Tuesday and Thursday coming.
Yeah, there's no class next week.
We're done, are we?
Do it.
We're done. It's fun, still listen.
I used to like delivering pizza. That was one of my favorite jobs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Domino's,
Yeah, I did. I actually did some Domino's too, but it was a local guy. It was a mom and pop type shop. Where are we at here? If it paid more, I might still do that.
We're not chicken.
that's one.
You-
What's that?
What's that?
You say the mom and pop one.
No, I don't live anywhere around here. I live in Stowe, so,
I grew up,
oh, did you?
Where?
over by Darrow.
Yeah, we're off of Darrow. It's not that far.
I remember there's a school with like how much is put in the trail. Things that I remember.
All right, so let's go and get into these. I don't really have to show you anything here for this, but it's somewhat arduous. This is a very hard section for a lot of students. What it is coming up, we've given you all these things in terms of how to graph a line. If you put it in slope intercept form, it's really easy. You know how to start and you know how to proceed once you go. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to tell you things about a line and we're going to expect you to come up with the equation of the line. Okay? And slope intercept form is the standard one. So let's go ahead and grab some of these questions here and we'll see what they mean. I don't care about the standard form just now. I don't really care about that. So let's go ahead and grab number 10 and I'll show you what we're talking about. I don't know. I don't, probably not for this. All right. So what we want to do is find the equation of a line with a given slope and y-intercept. You know, I was reading the book just recently, and as I got to the end of the page, I went like this. Flip up. Let's see. Oh, yeah. All right. What we want to do is this. Our answer is going to look something like this. So all you have to do is the answer is going to look like that. We have to find Those two things need to be found. So, what is, and do you remember what M stood for?
So,
And what was B?
Y-intercept.
Well, 0 comma B is the y-intercept. Although this particular program will let you consider letter B is the y-intercept, when technically it's a point, I don't care. So we have everything we need to know that. I have M right here. And this guy right here is B. So when I go to make up my thing then, it's gonna look like this. Y equals negative 3x plus 3. There's my answer. So the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of students are kind of surprised that this is an answer. It's not a number or anything like that, it's an equation. If I gave you that equation, you should be able to graph it very easily. So this is our best form to have it in. Is this, or at least I think it's the easiest form for students to work with. It's this slope intercept form. Want to try one? I'm not gonna bother with the standard form. We'll talk about standard form later. It's not as important, but it is a different way of rearranging the equations. Right now, I want to get equations first, and then if we get through that, we'll worry about that kind of stuff. All right, so here's the relevant information you need. Come up with your equation of that line. There shouldn't really take that much to it. You should just have y equals 1x minus 4. So once again, we have our n listed. This guy right here is our b. And so our answer is y equals 1x. You don't have to put the 1 if you don't want to, but I'm sure it's not bad to put it so that you can see that the slope is 1. Once again, let me just review for you. Slope is what? What the general rise over run. Remember, the top part is the up and down, and the bottom part is the horizontal movement. Are we good with this? Can I go on to the next topic, or we good? As long as everything's like that. Now, of course, you know the game that's going to be played is quite a bit different. Let me throw this one up here because it is unusual. One more just to make sure we have it. This is an unusual type of a problem.
What is one int? What does it mean?
No, at the m equals 1 and the, I don't know what that little symbol is in there. That they don't mean 1 int. They meant probably a comma. So int is 0. Let me see what the last one looks like. That I think, yeah, see, they meant a comma there. You want me to make it into a comma? I can. Say they pay us to be editors of their own books they send. Let's see here, see if I can make this into a comma. How's that? So, yeah.
Just like the most common.
So anyways, what would the equation look like?
It would just be,
Well, it's going through the origin.
it would be one up, one over, one up, one over. but like-
Right. Now, what's the equation gonna be? Tell me what the setup is. Y
Y
equals
equals, one,
X,
X
one X, sorry.
isn't that it?
plus zero technically, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have to include plus zero, because that's just. So, once again, they look sort of odd. Let me take care of the odd ones while I am here. This zero is B. So you have Y equals one X plus zero is technically what it is. But the answer that you'll probably put is just Y equals X. So I want to make sure I take care of the unusual situations before I go on. As you can see, this is a weird one. Do you remember what kind of a line this is that has, it's horizontal line? That's exactly right. Zero slope means it's a horizontal line.
Straight across.
Uh-huh. So what's the equation gonna be? What are you gonna plug in for M?
Zero,
Zero for M, and what are you gonna plug in for B?
5.
Right. So the form that it would look like, you plug in everything just as it's straightforward, you have zero X plus 5, or this is just Y equals 5. Remember, this is a horizontal line. Whoa. You don't carry away, I think doesn't keep up with you. What's the other weird one?
Um, what's, have a written, something?
It goes up and down.
Vertical, that's undefined.
Slope in the vertical case, the slope is undefined because it has zero run. So if I say the slope is undefined, there's not going to be a y-intercept here because it's not going to go through the y-axis. So it's going to have an x-intercept. What do you think this one's going to be? No, verticals go the opposite. Verticals up and down.
Y equals,
No y, there's no y involved here.
okay. So is it X equals?
That's right. It's simply x equals 5. So let me put a real quick little graph here. So to remind you, this would be 5 on the graph. In this horizontal case, the line is going like this. And here, it's crossing at 5, but in a vertical fashion. Notice if those lines are both graphed together, they would form right angles or 90-degree. They intersect at 90 degrees. And that's the way the life is. At some point, if you stay in math long enough, you'll graduate from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional, which adds a depth dimension. So right now, 2-dimensional is just left and right, up and down. But when you add a depth, you have backward and forward. And think of it this way, 2-dimensional requires 2 letters, X and Y, to govern it. What do you think 3 dimensions would require? It requires a Z. That's exactly right. You can't visualize once it gets after 3. It's you, but we do it. Mathematicians don't care. They work in dimensions called just n, where you don't even know what the dimension is. I think what we have here is good. I don't think any of these are a problem. Let's go then. Now, what if you're given a point that is not an intercept point, not a y-intercept? So we want to get this equation. But when I say we want to get it, at least I do. I don't know about you guys, but. All right, so find an equation of the line containing the given point with the given slope. Here's what I suggest doing. I'm going to make a quick graph of this thing. You don't have to, of course. I'm going to make a graph because I'm going to explain how to do this without a graph, if that makes, well, it doesn't make sense now, but I'll explain. So let me go ahead and get myself back to where I can draw an axis. All right, so it goes through the point 2, 3. So I'm going to put it on there. Okay, so I'm going to go, tell me how to get to 2, 3, just as a reminder that you know it. Would you say?
Right, 2 of 3.
Right 2 up 3. That's perfect explanation of it. So I've got that point and the slope is 4. That means if I'm at this point and I wanted to graph another point, well, how would I move from this spot?
Down 4, left 4.
Nope, wrong way. It's positive, so it's up 4.
Yeah. Up 4 over 1.
To the right one.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the correct spot. So let's see how it goes down here. I'm going to reverse myself. I'm going to go down 4 into the left one a couple of times, just so I have a lot of points. And let me go ahead and draw a line through all that. This is not necessary to do the problem. I'm just going to use it as a means of explaining myself. Let's draw a line through this stuff. I don't think that last point is on target, so I'll see if I can fix it here. That's not that bad, I guess. All right. Now you can see that point was a little bit off. I don't care about that. What we have now is the slope, and what's the y-intercept?
-5.
-5. So we have, so what's the equation of the line?
Y equals 4x minus 5.
So that spot where it crosses the y-axis is -5. So m equals 4, b equals -5. So the equation then is y equals, what is the equation going to be then?
4x.
4x
minus 5.
-5, that's right. You got everything you need, 4x -5. Now, if you were able to graph every time, this would be perfect. However, what if the numbers that I threw up at you were like fractions or something? You'd be stuck. You need a method that's free of fractions. So let's take a look here at the slope. The slope, I'm going to write a point here, 2, 3. Over here too, this point was 3, 3, 7. One of the ways that we got the slope was this. Remember, if you treated this like x2, y2, x1, y1, you get the slope by doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the y is 7 minus 3. And the x is 3 minus 2. Right, and they gave you that, they told you that's what the slope was. But now, what I'm gonna do is slightly different than that. I'm going to pick a point up here. I'm gonna pick a point up there, comma, x comma y. Okay? Now. Now, according to the slope formula, another way I can do m is this. I can treat this as like my y2, so I can do y minus 7 all over x minus 3. The slope was 4. Really? Do you know how to solve an equation like this? Do you know what to do with an equation like this? You had one problem like this on the last test. Do this. You take this and you multiply it for this. And that equals this times this. What's this called? Remember? Cross multiplication. Now let me go ahead and distribute this through. Okay. Now I'm going to add 7 to both sides of the equation. So I get 4x minus 5 equals y. Isn't that what we got when I'm looking at the graph? So I'm not going to draw a graph every time. I'm going to make use of this little formula that I put up here. All right, suppose you have 2 points on a line. So it might look something like this. I'm going to develop a formula. That's why I'm not telling you what any of these numbers are. According to the slope formula, we can do this. M equals y2 minus y1. Now I'm going to allow y and x to be variables so that I can get an equation involved in them. Also, x2 minus x1. Now I'm going to do like I did just in that previous problem. I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to put on this side, so on the side that I want. And we finish it off. This has a name, it's called a point, because you'll know a point and you'll know the slope. This formula is referred to as the point slope formula. So it's unlikely you're going to want to discover the formula every time by doing this business, but you can, it would work. And so let me use this formula to resolve the last problem. So I'm going to redo this one again. Or just redo it once. Let me keep that formula there. All right, what they've given you is everything you need. You can make use of this formula now. Can you tell me what the M I'm going to be using is?
4.
4, the M will be 4. Can you tell me what you think the X1 and Y1 are going to be?
2 and 3.
X1 will be this 2, Y1 will be this 3. So you might want to label it yourself there. Use this formula, you need an X1 and a Y1. That's the given point. So X1 will be the 2 and Y1 will be the 3. Let me plug them in. The M is 4. X1 is 2. Y1 is 3. And then if slope intercept form is desired, you want to solve and get isolated y. You want to isolate y to get the slope intercept form. So naturally, you will distribute the 4 through the x minus 2. And I'm almost finished. I can add 3 to both sides to get the equation of my line. Y equals 4x minus 5. That takes care of it. So you have a situation, this is probably what makes it, there's a lot of different things that I guess you memorize here. Let me give you one just like this, see if you can handle it. I'm gonna leave the formula up there for you so that you can utilize it during this 22. No, I want to keep that up. Remember when you do your final answer to solve for y so that you get a slope intercept form. What's that? Well, we got m is -3, right?
Yeah.
When all is said and done, what'd you get for your b at the end? No, it shouldn't be 5. What'd you get for your b?
11.
11? Well, there it is. All right, let's take a look at setting it in. Let's take a look at the formula. So when you use the formula, did you use x1 was the -2 and x and y1 was the 5? This was the x1. This is the y1. So that's the given point, right? Let me go ahead and throw it into the formula. So the formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We throw in all those numbers. All right, so n was -3, that one's easy. Now, x1 is negative, so this is gonna be x plus 2 in here. You understand that? Minus -2 is a positive, negative, I did the opposite. And then on the other side, I have y minus 5. We pause there. Are you guys good with this so far? That's right. What would you do next now to get the answer that they're looking for?
Side 5. Oh, use distribution.
Distribute first, that's what I would do, right? And distribute that -3 through. So you get -3x minus 6. And I have y minus 5 on the other side. Now I have the 5, as you said. So you get y equals -3x minus 1. Of course, in this format, it's perfectly graphable. You know where it's going to hit the y-axis, and you know how to proceed once you get that, once you're at that spot. Just to remind you, with the negative slope, how is the line looking? It's going in a dot, as if you should go from left to right, it's going downward. That's a negative slope. Positive slope, you'll go upward as you go from left to right. Let me know when you're ready. Well, I'll leave this up here, that formula and everything. Let me give you another one. This is the kind of stuff that requires some careful work. Let's do, I don't care about the standard form business. Let me give you 24 though. Let's do 26 with a fraction in it. And I didn't get it right. Five minus three. Go this format's wrong. Can you tell me if this is what this is, what this is, and then tell me what these two are first of all.
Everyone is the whole. Just do it.
That thing is down right there. That must be one that goes in. That's fine.
What is not next?
Right here. See whatever M,
Mhm.
whatever M is equal to goes to that spot. That look like a knife.
Negative.
So when you write this in, it should look like the following. I'm gonna have y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x minus 9. Good so far. And I'll go ahead and distribute the negative 1/3 through. If you multiply this through, I'm gonna get negative 1/3 x, so there's the mx part of it. But this part, 1/3 of 9 is 3, and it will become positive. You good so far? So I'll add 3 to finish it off. What you might want to do at the end is take the point that was given to you, plug it in just to see if it works. It should work. Like if I replace x with the 9, for example, this here is going to be negative 3 plus 6. Be that 3. Okay, that's a matter of practice, of course. Let me go ahead and scroll down, or maybe another, there's another type. There's several types of these problems. I'm gonna lose this book in a few minutes. It's gonna die on me. Got that. All right, so now we're giving you a different information about the line. We're going to tell you the 2 points that are on it. And then we're going to use that for our answer. So what do? First of all, what you can do is get yourself an M. If I can figure out the M and the B, I have the answer, and that's what I'm going to use the equations for. So for the M, this is easy. For the M, we can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Y2, so that'd be 11 minus 1 divided by 8 minus negative 2. Y's on the top and the x's are on the bottom. This is kind of a weak problem because that's going to be 10 over 10, so it's a very simple slope, which is equal to 1. So I've got the M. How do I go about getting the B? Well, now, at this point, you can take either of the points given to you and plug it in to determine the value of B. So plug in. Either given point to determine B. So I have the equation y equals x plus b. Pick either one of these points to use. I probably would pick the second of the first one. I'm gonna pick -2, 1. I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want you to choose 8, 11 and get your answer. I'm gonna choose the other point and show you that we'll get the same answer. Okay? So use either one of these points to determine the equation of the line. That means plug in that x and that y, and it will tell you what the b is.
We're using 8 and 11.
Yeah, you go and use the 8 and 11, and I'll use the other ones when I show you. All right, so you put the 8 where the x would be and the 11 where the y would be. So you found out that b was equal to 3, am I correct?
All right, so here, now what you're going to do is you're going to make up your own.
That is me. Where's that coming from?
Right.
You're going to choose your value.
You got speaker on right here.
I probably got YouTube on.
Oh, you- okay, so you got this.
Yeah, let me check out my YouTube if I'm gonna try to close it. Is that it? Where's the internet page? There, that's what I want. Move out of the way. Aha. Yep, that was still running. All right, let's go ahead and kill that. I can kill that too. I don't need that either. Let's go back to the book. All right, so this is more complicated. You can see. We're gonna do a few of these. So let me give you number 36. Try to do it based on what I did last time.
I had 12%.
Would you say for M? That's what I got. Yep, that's right. Now go ahead and now do Y equals MX plus B, but put the M in. And then use one of the points to see if you can get B.
So, okay, you say Y.
So Y equals 12/7 X plus B. That's what you know so far. Now take either one of the 2 points and plug it in for X and Y, and it will tell you what the B is.
So then Y equals 12/7 X plus B.
That's right. Now pick either one of the points. Neither one of them is going to be a desirable thing to plug in, but plug in something.
So I'm in the 8. No, I'm having the -1 and a negative.
I probably would too, because that's gonna be easier to do. I personally pick 6, 8, but it doesn't really matter.
Who's the 2?
It honestly does not. All right, what's step one in this process? What do you figure out first?
Slope.
Slope. So we'll get the slope first, right? We got that to be 12/7. Let me go ahead and look these up for, so we have the notes. For it. That's where we're gonna do Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. These will be by twos, these will be by ones. So I'll have -4 minus 8 divided by -1 minus 6. I end up getting positive 12/7. Everybody good with that so far? Now, we know that the answer looks like this. So if I can just find B, then I'll have what I want. So plug in either one of the points.
It's 14.
I think this is an easier one to plug in, because if that's a 1, even a -1, that's an easy thing to do, isn't it? So I'm gonna plug in the point. So plug in either of the points that you're given. I'm gonna use the one that says net Y is -4 when X is -1. So I've replaced Y with -4, and I've replaced X with -1. So I use but if you chose the other point, you'll get the same answer. Let me write a little bit more here. What would you do next?
Add 12/7 slope.
Add 12/7 so that you can determine what B is. Add 12/7 to both sides. Now I have the word -4 plus 12/7. What I'm gonna do is change that -4 to -28/7. Wait, are you guys okay with that? When I add them together, I get -16/7. But while this may seem like your answer, it's not. My answer is gotta put all the things in place. My answer is going to be that 12/7 was the M. And the B is now shown to be -16/7. So this one, you wouldn't have been able to graph this one because of the fractions. So at some point, that's the deal is you're gonna have to, at some point, become comfortable with these formulas. What are the two steps that we do? What was step one in these problems? Well, and step two then was to plug them into the equation to figure out the intercept. No, this one here. All right, so I am going to give you, another, I don't want to do decimals. Let's do number 40. Write these points down. I don't know if I set up, did I set up the homework for all of chapter 4 yet? Do you know?
4, 3, and 4, 4.
That's it? So I haven't done 4 or 5 yet?
No.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that while you guys are working this. Go ahead and copy the points down, then I'll put up a homework for 4 or 5. Let me see your test. Your test is after spring break. Where am I at? No, okay, right here. 4, 5, and then 9, 3. I think I'll make it due on the 19th because it doesn't make sense to have anything due during spring break.
What did you have due on 19?
I'm gonna make this homework, these homeworks due the day of the test or the day of the review. Maybe I'll do it that way. No, the day of the test, because then you get a chance to review. Okay, so I'll do that then. So 4 or 5, I'll put in here for the day of the test. Check that again real quick. That test is gonna be on 3/21. So make it due on 3/21. Anybody get this answer yet? Let's see here. Let me do it real quick and I'll tell you what I have versus what you have. Now, whenever you see an X with a 1 or a -1, I think that's the easier point to use. Do you agree? Because multiplying is very simple, right? All right, let me get this in here and I'll tell you. Did you get -3 for the slope?
Yep.
-3 for the slope? And did you get B equals 13? Okay. So once again, the first step is the slope. I recommend writing the formula out every time. Then it will seem like you're memorizing it. So first we do our slope. That's the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this were my 2's and these were my 1's. So my y2, I would have -2 minus 10. And the x's, 3 minus -1. So I ended up with -12 over 4 for that part.
Oh, I couldn't write it this one.
Well, I don't, what way?
This one here makes sense.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine. You simplify it, you should get the same answer I did.
oh, okay.
This, when you simplify it, it's just -3. Let me put that over here. We have m equals -3. I need to figure out the b. So here's what I know. This is an answer and waiting as soon as we know the letter b. I'll get either of the points. I personally think it's easier whenever you have oh, I think I got that, I think I did that wrong, use 7, use 7.
Yep.
Okay, that's the right one. Let me plug in those numbers then. So 10 is going to be here while x is -1. You can see them, 10, y, x. Now what do you do? Subtract 3 to get the value of b. Seven is equal to b. That's all I need to know. I have m, I have b, I now have my answer. My answer is y equals -3x plus 7. Right, I believe there's one more type of problem that we have to look at before we leave here. Let me make sure you guys got all your writing done. When I was a student, I remember walking out of math classes with a sore wrist. Did you have that happen? I see students doing this all the time, leaving my classes. Do you know when you become a professor, that goes away? It was cured once I started teaching. It doesn't bother me at all. Are we okay with this? Can I move on? Do you have any questions on this? Pause me if you don't. I mean, if you have some questions.
7 came from 3 minus 6.
That's right. 10 minus 3 gave me the 7. Let's see what other types of problems they have in store for us here. That's not a big deal there. They give you everything you need to know there. This is just a visualization. They're giving you 2 points, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. We did this. I don't want this one. I don't want this one. Now, here's where we get to, let's do this. Let me draw a picture. Look at these two lines. Oh, I didn't, where's my draw thing? Here it is. What would you call these two lines? They don't, I mean, they're parallel lines. One thing about parallel lines, and I don't think I have to tell you that, do you agree, looking at the two things, that they rise and run the same exact way?
I don't know.
Right, since they're parallel, they go up and over at the same amounts, so that they stay the same distance apart every time. If they didn't have the same slope, one would close in on the other eventually. Do you understand? So they have exactly the same slope, so parallel lines have the same slope. But parallel lines have the same slope. We'll make use of that in these problems. We're gonna look at two different types of lines. In mathematics, there's two important aspects in this geometrical interpretation. There's parallel lines and then there's perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines intersect at right angles. So we have parallel lines there. Let me draw a picture of perpendicular lines. I'll come back to this drawing thing. I think I'm gonna try something new here. We'll see what happens. There we go. I didn't want him to be like perpendicular. I didn't want him to be up in, horizontal and vertical. I wanted you to see. These are perpendicular lines here. They meet at right angles. In fact, a lot of times when things meet at right angles, you'll see a little picture indicating that. You'll see them right in this little square in here. Have you ever seen something like that before? That indicates they meet 90 degrees. It's like the corner of the room. It's supposed to be 90 degrees. It's not exact, but you understand, right? You can see on the board, you can see these lines are meeting at 90 degrees all over the place. Their slopes work like this. For perpendicular lines. Now, these lines are, whenever I give formulas, always keep in mind that the horizontal and vertical lines break all the formulas. They always have to be handled separately because of either having a zero slope or an undefined slope. But in general, this is the situation here. If one of them has slope m, then the other one has slope -1 over m. So let me give you an example. I give you a line that has the slope of 7. What would be the slope of a line that's perpendicular to it? -1/7. If I give you a slope of a line, if I say that the slope of a line is 3/2, can you tell me what the slope of a line perpendicular to it will be? -2/3. You take the reciprocal. It's the negative reciprocal is what it is. So I need those two pieces of information to solve the problems they're going to throw at me. So when you have parallel lines, they have the same slope. They both have slope m, say. Perpendicular lines, one of them is going to have m, the other is going to be this. So let's hit up those kinds of problems and see what we're in store for. So they want applying parallel. All right, that's fine. The standard form part of it, I really don't care about, but I'll put it in standard form at the end. There's a lot of typos in this book, isn't there? All right, so first of all, they want an equation of a line parallel to this one. Can you tell me what the slope of our line is going to be? Tell me what the m's they want. No? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, two bits parallel. So we want our m to be 2/3. Since we're parallel, we want to use the same slope. So parallel, that means our m is located right here. Okay, so here's what we have. Now, how do I figure out the b? What do I do with that?
Use any number. Other than 6, -6, I mean.
We have to use the point they give me.
Oh, okay.
So it has to, I have to plug in, this is my point. So that changes this to, I'm gonna have 6 when x is equal to 6 as well. I find it easier, or you might find it easier, instead of putting a 6 there, put 6/1 over there. That way I can simplify this. Four plus b is equal to 6.
So b equals 2.
B equals 2, that's right. So what do I have? I have my slope, and I've got b. So my answer is y equals, where's my 2/3 x plus 2. One last one to finish it off. I want to make sure that I get all the problem types. Like I said, I don't really care about standard form just yet. I'll keep it at this for now. And time is going to force me to do this one rather quickly. Can you tell me now, what is the slope that we want to use?
-3/2.
-3/2 is my slope now. So M equals -3/2. You know to do that, because it's perpendicular. So now my equation looks like this. Y equals -3/2 X plus B. And once again, to determine the letter B, what are you gonna do?
Solve for B.
How do you solve for B? What are you gonna do to solve for it?
-3/2 times 6.
Right, you're gonna plug in the point. 6 for X, 6 for Y. Same point as before. There's our point. This here. M equals -3/2. So I plug in my point, and I've got a 6 for Y, when X is also 6. Please try to make your V's look different than the 6s. All right, oh, it might think it's easier if it's 6/1 over here. So let me cancel the 6 with the 2. Six equals -9 for B, so can you tell me what B is gonna equal?
15.
15. That's all you really need to know, so you can get the answer of Y equals -3/2 X plus 15. Just to give you a heads up, next class will be a graphing class, so be prepared for that. Pretty much you need. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Put this here.